Have you not listened to your elders, my friend?
I've listened to the elder, but I don't listen to
you have.
Welcome to Right Between the Eyes podcast, a KISS podcast with 3 generations of KISS fans telling you why we love it loud.
There's an old saying that good luck is really opportunity meets preparedness.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Right Between the Eyes podcast, a KISS podcast with 2 generations of KISS fans telling you why we love it loud. I'm one of your hosts, Rob Myers. Welcome to episode 55. And technically, it's New Year's Eve for us, but it will actually be January. I don't know what that first Thursday is, but we'll figure that out. But it's 2024, but we are in the past in 2023. And as you can see, we have Xander from KISS Army Things. But before I let him speak here, our social media handles, let's run through them real quick. And if you're listening on YouTube, hi. And if you're not, well, go check YouTube out because you might want to see this interview. But you can find us on Twitter or at X at RBTE Podcast. We're on Facebook at facebook.com/Right Between the Eyes Podcast. You can email into the show at rightbetweentheeyespodcast@gmail.com. And we're on YouTube. Hello, if you're watching. And last but not least, if you listen on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, rate and leave a review. And if you are watching on YouTube, comment down below and subscribe. And moving forward in 2024, every episode of Right Between the Eyes will be on YouTube in some portion, at least audio. I may just port the audio only episode, but I will try and do video episodes. Sometimes every now and then I'm looking at Xander. Nico will say, I just got home. I look terrible. Can we not do this a YouTube clip? So Nico is the reason why you don't see video footage. No, I'm kidding. Speaking of Nico and Nick, they are not here on this episode. And the only real reason to that is we all forgot when we were planning this episode that we knew it was Sunday, but we had kind of forgotten it was New Year's Eve. So Nick at the last minute was like, oh, holy crap. It's New Year's Eve. And I was like, oh, because, you have a party or something. He's like, no, I have to pick my brother-in-law up from the airport. He goes, I'm not going to be here. So I think Nico had a prior engagement again, because it was New Year's Eve. So I reached out to my good friend Xander and I was like, dude, I need a wingman for this episode. So Xander, Happy New Year. And how are you and the wife and just KISS Army Things have been in 2023, and what's 2024 look like for you guys?
Yeah, Happy New Year, Rob. Thank you so much for having me on. So far, looking pretty good. We've had a good holiday, good Christmas. New Year's is going to be pretty chill. 2024 over on KISS Army Things is going to be lit, as the kids would say. We have lots of content lined up, and it's going to be, I've been using the word freeing a lot. It's going to be freeing. Now, unfortunately, the tour is over, which, brings a sad tear to all of us, but also there's, a weight lifted off. The tour is done. KISS fans can now just, do whatever we want, have the most fun. And so, of course, for us podcasters, us YouTubers, we're just going to bring the most content in 2024. So, yes, you can find us over on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Like, follow, and subscribe. KISS Army Things.
And if you're not, pause this video right now and go over and do that. And then, please come back and finish this video.
Or else.
Or else. Or you'll hear from Brant.
That's right, yes.
So what you're getting ready to watch and or listen to, and again, this video is up on both platforms now, on whatever audio podcast you're listening to and on YouTube, is we had a chance to talk, and I wouldn't say interview. It wasn't really an interview. It was just a conversation that we had with the great Billy Baker from Baker Drums, who has been responsible for all of the KISS kits that you have seen, and even the last 2 KISS cruises, the 10 and the 11 cruises. Billy had parts in making those kits. So for 5 years, Billy has riveted, screwed, tapped, banged, welded, cut, spliced all of Eric's kits. And you will hear the fate of the gold kit, why the gold kit did not make it to New York as it was originally intended. And when we were in Rosemont going into sound check, I took a picture of the kit and I was like, Billy, I'm seeing your kit for the last time. I can't wait to see the gold kit. And then he texted me right away, like, oh, here's the reason why you're not seeing the gold kit. So I won't spoil it.
Oh, yeah.
But But yeah, there's a reason why that kit did not make it to New York. But I think we had a great conversation with Billy. I'm excited for you guys to hear it, and I can't think of a better way to end New Year's Eve 2023 hanging out with you, Xander, and just sitting back, drinking some Moneybag soda and listening to Billy Baker. And you could see the proud papa moment in Billy. Like, I did this. It was 5 years of his life, but there was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears and just joy from Kiss fans from all his hard work. So
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say other than crack open a Moneybag soda, tip to the hat to Kiss Army things, and sit back, relax, and listen to the three of us or two of us talk to Billy Baker. Happy New Year's, folks, and we'll see you on the other side. Don't go anywhere.
You guys got way cooler rooms to do this in than I do.
But you've got some Batman stuff back there, and I'm like, okay.
Well, see, this used to be my cool office, and then now we got 6 grandkids, so the office became the grandkids' room. So even when I do like Skype calls for work, they're like, "Oh, I see you got there's the the castle in the back and the Batman thing," So
nice.
Yeah.
It's a good distraction if they're going to deliver bad news that may not sound as bad. Like, well, Batman's in the room. I don't want to get punched.
Well, yeah, Kiss related. It's hilarious when they're in here like playing with the little bendy Kiss guys with the little people, in their castle and stuff like that. So, I got pictures of that. There's like like Catman's flying on like some kind of Pegasus thing across the castle.
You couldn't talk Eric into doing that for his solo flying in on a Pegasus at all, or?
Well, we talked about it, but
Gene didn't want to take away from his bass solo, so
I'm in the air, not you, Eric.
I'll tell you, man. All the ideas and stuff like that, we were on the same page, man. We would start talking about the next thing to do and kind of running over each other, stumbling over the conversation because we were saying basically the same stuff, So it was very, very, very easy to collaborate on this kind of stuff. I was a fan for a long time, so I was in that headspace of like, what kind of kits would I want to do for a Kiss show, So I did have some background and interest in it, way ahead of time. So, growing up with it, and then getting to actually do that stuff, it's pretty incredible.
Yeah. Well, the conversation is just flowing naturally, so we're just going to roll right into it. We're here with Billy Baker. If you have been to any Kiss show in the last 5 years, you have seen his work on various stages, continents, and maybe even on a boat in the ocean. We'll talk about that later. But the last time that we, from Right Between the Eyes, and Xander, this is the first time getting to meet Billy, so we can kind of backtrack a little bit. I didn't get a chance to listen to all of our previous episodes, but I don't remember, since we were like texting in between, that if you said off of mic that you were working on the purple kit for the Sail Away show, or if that was actually part of the show. I can't remember which that was.
That kit is, that kit, we did do a purple diamond kit for the cruise kit. So I might've been working on that at the time.
Okay.
And it's kind of funny because that kit is now being used by Amber Wild for the opening slots for the last part of the tour that they did those shows. Their drummer actually used that purple kit. Eric let him use that purple kit for that show. It sounded great.
I wondered
awesome.
That was in my notes, and partway through from where we were sitting, they got a close up of the drummer, and I was like, man, that kit looks very familiar. But he had it set up a little different. About midway through the show, I'm like, I can't wait to ask Billy if that was Eric's, because he specifically.
Sure, that was a phenolic kit too. I think that it was phenolic. I saw the Nashville show, and it just sounded great. It was cool to actually get to see that kit, live, because I didn't get to see the purple kit because I didn't go on the cruise or anything like that. So. I was back there in Nashville. I was backstage, so I got to go and kind of check everything out. It was a little chaotic that date, but got to say hi to the drummer and get to meet him and stuff like that. So it was great band, great night. We were supposed to go to Knoxville. That was going to be our last show, but Knoxville got canceled. So
we've talked about it in all of our previous shows, as I'm of course messing up with Windows here, so pardon me a little bit. Just running into those shows, we were thinking like, we had the Rosemont show in Chicago, so those shows, getting canceled early on, I think a lot of us were thinking they're just going to New York, and that's just what the shows are going to be. And a friend of ours,
what my gut feeling was too. Of
Yeah.
course, I wasn't talking much with Eric at that point because it was, days off, he needs to rest and stuff like that. So we don't talk too much unless something's needed or emergency or whatnot. But I was kind of under the impression that they would that they might just hold off to the very end, but they got back out there.
So 2022 comes to a close, and how early into when were you working on the final kits that would appear across the continent? How early were those kit constructions going on?
Oh, definitely all of 2022. That was working with Pearl with the maple gum kit, the black chrome kit. Eric really hadn't gotten a brand new kit from Pearl, in like 3 years since we started doing the fiberglass and the phenolic and all that. And he really had his heart set on a maple gum kit. So, I had presented the idea of like, hey, what do you think about black chrome? I've always loved that finish. And he always has, he actually has a beautiful Slingerland black chrome kit that is pretty close. I mean, it's almost Neil's kit. I think he's just missing a 9x13 and that's it. But it beautiful kit. So we were like, I think that, especially because, we always try to do a little tip of the hat, to Peter's kits and stuff like that. We always real conscious of the history of the band. So, the gold and black stripe kit that everybody thought was black chrome just kind of made sense to kind of like, well, let's just do black chrome, and right at that time, NAMM was happening. And it was like about a year earlier, Pearl had released some sessions series in the black chrome. So I contacted Pearl, said, hey, this is what we want to do. Can you, order the wrap from, Pearl Japan, and we'll get that over here. So we had the wrap just sitting there waiting. We were kind of wondering what we were going to do. We're going to do, try and do another fiberglass. And then now let's just do maple gum because he really wanted maple gum. So Music City guys knocked that kit out. I'm not kidding. In like two or 3 days.
Really?
Yeah, they knocked it out. And then I wanted to put the script Pearl badges on there. The brush script. I thought that would look so cool with the black chrome, and so they calibrated the machines to like drill for those badges, and we were able to make that happen too. I did the front heads for that kit. Those were cool. They're chrome with a red outline, and so the red came into play with Lorne Wheaton Gump, which is Eric's tech, and he teched for Neil. Neil passed away, so at some point during some of the shows, Eric had the little Starman decal on the bass drum heads as a kind of tribute to Neil. So with this being like a black chrome kit, and then Gump was like, well, we should put the red pinstripe in there on the heads, just to kind of like, another kind of like little Easter egg kind of little thing, so, and it just happened to look so good with, with that black chrome, which almost has a bluish hue to it, I found the perfect, sparkle to go inside the lettering to match. What's cool about those, the heads are chrome, but the stage is so big that if nothing's reflecting off of chrome, it just turns black. So
yeah.
So some of the time, the people with a lot of people thought that the heads sometimes look matte black, sometimes they look black. But if it's just simply because nothing's reflecting off of it, so it just simply goes black, which you just never know. And it was a really cool effect. And when the lights come on, all of a sudden you got chrome, and then stuff reflecting off of it. So for the whole, if I say for the most part, was the Music City kit was a black chrome kit that was used for most of the last part of this tour.
Yeah, I know it went over to London. They went to the South America shows. I think they got the mirror ball double-headed kit, while the chrome kit was going over to the UK.
And that's what's so cool, is having so many different kits that we're able to, like, you know, I mean, there's 2 sets of the giant cats, you know.
Oh, really?
There's two sets of those. So those are going. Those were going. I keep saying like it's going to keep going, like it's going to happen. You know,
we know it's not over,
but it's like that's what we did. You know, we had to have 2 sets of cats, so they were things were moving. There was 3 pianos, you know, moving all the time.
Wow.
I guess right around the same time the black chrome kit was you know, we had the idea for the 50th anniversary kit. You want to kind of get into that?
Yeah. And I don't know if you had any questions at all, Xander, before we roll into.
Well, I know that there was a couple of Modern Drummer videos that were uploaded where
Thank you.
They did a couple tours of Eric's kit, and I'll be honest. So the second one that they did back in October of this year, I didn't know they did that until about 5 minutes before I got on here.
Right.
I watched it and was like, well, how did I miss this? Well, Eric mentioned you a couple times in that video, and he was talking about how he said you restored the drums. And so I was wondering, what does that mean, and what is that process like?
I think that was the video for the Chrome Crocodile kit. I think that's probably what that one was. So that kit was probably 2021. 22, I think, when things were rolling again. You know, we wanted to just do another kit just because, you know, it's another year. You kind of want to keep things fresh. And I just had this idea for doing a Chrome Croc kit and doing the green front heads. You know, I just had the whole kit pictured in my head already. But the hardest part for that kit was finding the phenolic shells, which is kind of a resin, kind of a brownish resin material. They sound great. It's a great material to make drum shells out of. I mean, they make circuit boards out of it. I mean, they make you know, the caps that go on tone pots and stuff like that. It's just it's a really cool material. And so finding, you know, I had to find 6, 8, 10, 14, 15 concert toms, you know, 12, 13, 16, 18, finding an 18 phenolic is like a unicorn. But, you know, I found it in Canada at Music Around just by chance, you know, and found the concert toms in the Netherlands. I mean, we had so many people networking, helping me find this stuff, you know, and people in Europe, because the phenolic shells were more available over in Europe and Japan for some reason than they were in the States. So a lot more of those drums over there. We found stuff in Japan. But he also wanted the diamond lugs, which was a really cool lug that Pearl used. A lot of diamond cut angles on it. But it's really super hard to find those in good condition. So I mean, I contacted every drum guy I knew. I had guys everywhere, you know, send it. So it took me a year to get the materials to even build that kit. To get the lugs, nice lugs. I wanted them to look good. I cut all the gaskets for those diamond lugs. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 8 or 10, you know, angles on those for each one of those lugs that were all hand cut. But I had to have a little bit of black to make the shape of those lugs pop on the chrome. Mm-hmm. Of course, 300 feet away, nobody's going to notice, but me and Eric noticed, you know.
Exactly.
Then this nerd noticed.
You guys notice. I mean, there's drummers that love that stuff and get into the details. So all the badges, you know, there's no way I was going to find President Series badges. And he wanted those. So I made a mold in silicone with one of the metal badges, and then resin, used black tinted resin, made all the badges, and then had to go in there and hand paint all the raised areas of the badge, the letters and the, you know, little design work and stuff like that. So that was all done with my grandfather's, you know, super binocular goggles,
Oh, yeah.
and a little chrome pin and stuff. I did the same thing, for some other kits that the one we'll talk about in a bit here.
Wow.
So a lot of that kit probably took the most hands-on. There's a lot of patching of the shells, and it was a cool kit. I think if anything, the material I used on there was a softer kind of fabricy kind of thing. So did it mute the shells? Yeah, a little. Did Joe and Mary Beer Can know? No, they didn't know.
No, it looked cool. It looked warpy. The little sample that you had so generously sent us.
Yeah.
Holding it, I was like, this is not what I thought. That, like, oh, it's a wrap and it looks that way. Even going, well, I'm a drummer, I should know what this is. And then I think in that video, Eric even said it's almost like upholstery, like you would coat a chair or something like with. So that outside the box,
we just went for it.
Yeah, that was so cool. That was one kit I wish I could have seen live, just that you had spent time with us talking about the idea of it and seeing it in fruition. So I remember those first couple shows going, I hope somebody's on stage with their VIP, like getting to sit behind Eric's kit. Like, I don't care who you are. I just want to see the kit.
I love the way the green heads went with it. It just kind of the front heads, it all just went together so nicely. And just, I love the chromy kind of crocodile. It's a real throwback kind of, Bowie Cooper kind of glammy kind of look, so, but throwback,
Yeah.
They were actually trying to just like, they were like, that would make a cool bass, so like, they're like, I'm like, I don't think I want to get into that, right now.
How big is your custom shop willing to go? Something that Xander mentioned about that video is that, Eric could have easily just said, oh, these are the drums that I'm using and the sizes, but he so graciously drops your name like 4 or 5 different times through both
every
videos.
time he's ever done that. And as a matter of fact, when he did the Modern Drummer issue, I think it was 2019 or 20. It's hard to that one right there. He had them do like a side interview with me. About telling the story of how it all happened, which is I think what we talked about when we first did the first podcast. So he like was cool enough to like have them do like a little side piece on there, and I mean the amount of people that he's put me in contact with, the other drummers I've done drum work for now. I mean, let's. Not to get too emotional or anything like that, but is he changed my life,
Wow. Yeah. That's awesome.
Seriously, completely changed my life,
That's incredible.
Yeah, all because you decided to do a mirror ball kit on your own for Chicago drum.
Yeah, I mean, just a quick little short recap. I had my buddy Mark Good gave me some fiberglass shells, and I had enough to do like a Kiss kit like from 75 or something. So I just decided to see if I could do a mirror ball kit. I always loved that kit, and put a picture on Facebook, and I used to get like 10, 20 likes, and I came back, and about 4 hours later, I was like, there's like 800 likes. What is going on? and there's like a message in Messenger from Eric Singer, and he said, you need to call me right away. And so the rest is history, just from doing that. I don't know why I did it. I have no idea. I just did the little 6-inch tom and mirror and showed my wife, and she's like, oh, you've got to do that. So, I think with her little approval and watching her face light up, it's something I had to do. So I would just do like couple drums a week, maybe, and just post them, and now it led to this. So,
wow.
Yeah.
So Kiss goes from, I'm trying to remember geographically. We'll get it close. They go to South America, they go to London, and then Australia says, hey, why don't you come back? Like, Kiss had done their goodbye in Australia.
Right.
So they decide, okay, we'll do one more. They had I always get it wrong. The grand finale, whatever
AFL.
the AFL, they do that. Eric's playing, and I'm sure you had nothing to probably do with this. It was probably a kit that was there. He was playing in an acrylic kit
Yeah,
there.
I think that was just a cartage company showed up. I think Gump took the green heads off the chrome kit and put those on the clear kit just to kind of juice it up a little bit, and it looked cool. The green heads look great on the clear kit.
I remember getting a message from you, or I think when I got inspired from the green heads, I thought, well, in my kit, I want to do all red accents. So I think I was sending you messages like, hey, here's what I'm doing, and my wife's like, you got your own Baker workshop here. And I'm like, I think I do. And you had
Be
said,
careful.
yeah, it's addicting. I think it was during that time you had said, the final kit is going to be a gold. And I was thinking, I saw pictures of Paul with his gold, PS10. Gene had a gold axe and some promo shots. I thought, man, wouldn't that be cool if the whole front line all had gold equipment? So seeing it in Australia, I was like, oh, that's cool that they decided to debut that kit in Australia. I thought that was going to be a New York show, but okay, I guess we're going to see this gold kit.
Yeah.
And then when they hit the US, it's like, oh, we're back to the black kit. Well, that's interesting. So talk about the creation of the gold kit and then the outcome.
Yeah, you're talking about that guitar. I was kind of, we had no communication as far as like matching hues or gold's a tough color. You don't want it to really it can look cheap. And so my whole, we were like, well, it's the 50th. I mean, it just makes sense to do a gold kit. But my whole concern was I don't want it to look cheap and tacky looking. I want it to look classy gold. So when I saw that PS, the Iceman, I always call it Iceman.
Yeah, same here.
I saw the Iceman. There was two of them. There was one that had the ginger kind of gold, which I was like, oh my God, they match perfect. Like the kit that I did, the color that I chose was exact. Then he's got one that's a little bit more yellow. And that's not the direction I wanted to go. I didn't want to, like, we even tried the Starfire gold heads, on the gold kit after I did it, but the gold colors were so different. It was almost like the gold heads were too yellow, and so it took away from the whole. So we just did chrome, and the chrome with that beautiful gold. I'm sure, I think I've sent you some videos of like, some when I dropped it off at Pearl, maybe. Yeah, so there's not much out there. I mean, I should probably post like a cool little Facebook post of like, the whole kit being built and what it looked like, because I don't see not too many people got to see it, and it was so beautiful. Like the front heads were chrome and gold, and I mean the outlines were gold. It was beautiful, man, and so yeah, it spent about 8 months on that kit. We went back to fiberglass for that kit. The 6, 8, and 10 were all double-headed. I believe, yeah. I did like single lugs, I think, in the center again on those. It's been a while, and like I said, once that kit was gone, I haven't. Yeah, I did double head, and we actually put opti mounts on. So I had to cut down the opti mounts for the 6-inch tom so it would go down far enough that cut the metal rods, and so it would slide down. So yeah, it went to that Australia show that they added, and it would, oh cool, we're gonna debut it, put it through its paces and see it, and then it'll be ready for New York. Well, the Dubai show was gonna happen, so the matte black kit was on the way. And I could be getting this wrong, but this is the way I understand it. So I could be wrong, but I'm not going to be far off. So the matte black kit was on its way to Dubai. It wasn't going to make it there in time. So they went ahead and shipped the gold kit from Australia to Dubai to do that show. So now we got 2 kits going to Dubai. Dubai gets canceled. All hell breaks loose there. So now they've got to try and get the stuff back to the States in time for New York. And it just did not happen. I don't know where that kit is. It's somewhere on a boat in the Atlantic Ocean, I think, but it could be home by now. I don't know. But the matte black and the black kit and the gold kit which is kind of ironic because the matte black kit from the Midnight Special was used once and destroyed and never saw again. Here we got the black kit out in the ocean and the gold kit used one time. And that was it. I was really hoping it would have been back for the last, Madison Square Garden shows, because it was gorgeous. There was like no gold flake that lit up like that I've seen, on stage. It was just, it's one of those things where you just like, but hey, I mean, he really loved the black chrome kit. I think probably out of all the kits, as far as sounding wise, that was his favorite. I personally, my favorite was the first 2019 Mirrorball kit with the concert toms.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I thought I just liked the way it sounded. I heard fiberglass drums again. I heard concert toms. To me, it sounded like, it sounded like old Kiss,
Yeah.
those drums, but I understand that the front 12 and 13, concert toms are a little, they require a little bit more effort to play. They don't give you back what you want, or you want to, dig into it sometimes, and you're kind of like, this is weird, so that's when we switched to went to the double-headed, and went down to 22s. We went from 24s down to 22s since it was going to be a long tour. And it just getting once I did the 22 matte black kit, he was like, I really like playing this. This feels good to me. So that's when we went to 22s on the Mirrorball stuff. Yeah. Wow. So the gold kit, one time only. Don't even know where it is or what's going to happen to it. I think the first Mirrorball kit is on display in Las Vegas at the Kiss World.
Okay.
There.
Oh wow.
And I don't know what's going to happen to some of the kits. I always tell everybody when they ask me, what does he do with the kits? He owns all the kits, so he'll keep some and he'll sell some,
Yeah.
That's usually how it works.
I didn't know.
I hope he gets the gold kit.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen. It needs to be displayed somewhere,
Yeah.
We always joke it'd be cool if they opened up the warehouse and did like tours that you could, go into I'm envisioning, I work in a warehouse and I stand in my job going, can you imagine if this was the Kiss warehouse? Like, let's go over to the 1977 section. Let's go to the 1980s section.
Yeah.
That would be so cool, dude.
Yeah.
That would be Kiss World for real.
Right. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Hop on my scissor lift. I'll take you up to Dynasty,
Yeah.
Awesome.
I've been to a couple places like that, that I've been to, there's a drum museum down in Fort Lauderdale area that's got, some of Alex Van Halen's, Hal Blaine, Greg Bissonette, tons of Kiss kits, just Carmine Appice kits, just incredible. You're just like, oh my God. Oh yeah. I remember this kit from Circus Magazine, and now I'm catching it. Of course, Celeste had to play everything. So there was actually the Ringo kit from one of the videos, and it was the big giant oversized silver sparkle kit, and she had to play it. She had to go over and hit it. I'm like, honey, that's probably any kit but that one, okay?
Maybe you don't even breathe around that kit.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
But it was a cool kit. It had like a 16-inch snare, a 28-inch kick drum, a 20-inch floor tom, and a 16-inch rack tom. So
really,
yeah. So in the video, he's playing like the little tiny kit, like a little beginner's kit. Looks like one of those old Japan something, and they're all dressed in the Sgt. Peppers. But every once in a while, a shot of the giant kit,
Yeah,
that was there.
Wow,
it sounded really good actually.
So when was your last day? You put the last lug on it, the boxes had left to where you're done, and now it's just the shows are going to continue. When was your last official day working on?
Let's see. I think October. It was. I'm gonna have to say October because I took the last stage played snares to Nashville show.
Okay.
So I literally finished the last one a couple days before that. I think I posted. I did a snare for him just it was a special kind of silver with a green stripe in the center, and so I just kind of did that one for him, and said, this one's for me. Hold on to it.
That's cool. What was your total of snares for? Do you know like your total from 2019 up until the last that you had?
Yeah, I did. As far as stage played snares, I did 160. So 160, and they all varied from silver mirror to gold mirror to some with stripes. I mean, we would do one-offs and stuff like that, but some of them were stage plays, some of them went to charity, some of them were auctioned for charity. He's very involved in that. So some of the ones that were kind of unique and one-offs kind of deal we use for that, and special gifts that they want to give to somebody. Yeah. We actually, it was funny because, right around after the first mirror ball kit, I wanted to do a black mirror ball, which is kind of like we did the black chrome, but I found material that looked like black chrome, but it was mirror ball. And so I think I went up to Indiana, and we were on stage kind of looking at it, and it got thumbs down. I think they just thought that it wouldn't look any different than the silver, but I think it definitely would have. And I don't know, guys are playing, silver crack mirror guitars and black chrome mirror guitars, so obviously it looks different. So
right. yeah, exactly.
So I don't know. I thought that would have looked good. And I actually did a couple mock-ups that had black nickel hardware, like old school diamond lugs. Yeah. So it had black nickel, hardware with the black mirror, and then green, the little green accent. It looked pretty mean looking. Like that kit would have looked so cool with the green heads and then the cats.
Yeah, the cats.
The black chrome mirror, and then the cats on both sides. It would have looked pretty wicked,
Absolutely.
I remember. Sorry, do you have anything, Xander?
Well, this is a little bit farther back, but those snares, those 160 snares, do those include the meet and greet snares?
Yeah, that's it.
The meet and greet snares.
Well, they're actually played. He puts them up for like 2 or 3 songs. There's a point in the set, and so yeah, those are for the meet and greet. So about 160 of those. I probably did about 20. I'd say about 20 actual snares that he used on stage for his main snares. There were mirror ball, free floaters. There was fiberglass, snares that I built him that I'd cut down from 10 by 14 concert toms, and turned into his main snares, and just built them from scratch. I loved doing that. That was
That's incredible.
That was some of the funnest parts. We're doing that kind of stuff.
Now, I don't know if you're able to say, like, for the meet and greet snares, does Pearl you say, hey, we're going to do 160 snares? Do they send you shells, or are you still out there getting shells?
No. The stage play ones come from Pearl.
Okay.
And then I take them from there and, do all the mirror work, add all the, the custom badges, the stickers inside, all the nylon, the green nylons, change out the wires, change out the, put the green or gold snare ribbon on there. So, make it it's pretty much, I would imagine that people view this stuff as a souvenir. I mean, it should be considered that something that you're going to display, that's got his signature on there and a memento from a moment in time,
Absolutely.
So that's how I look at those things, I doubt many people buy the Paul Stanley guitars and take them on stage,
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anybody who has one of those snares, man, is lucky, because I saw pictures of them and they're beautiful. I love those snares. So anybody who has one has to cherish that thing forever.
It's, I got a lot of people reaching out that were, trying to, get me to do them on the side. And it's just, I wouldn't. I just didn't, I didn't do any of that. I tried to do all the right things for 5 years, and it's difficult because basically you think about it for a second there. I was like, I was a I was the A&R. I wasn't the A&R, but I was doing a lot of communication. You know, if something went wrong, they would call me, you know, and I would have to fix it. So I was like, you know, it became it still is a one-man operation, but for me to like handle as much as I did, it got crazy at times, you know. I'm not complaining or wouldn't change it, but you know, for just because I was still working I still am working the same day job. So, you know, all the KISS stuff I was doing was on the weekends or when I got home from work. So it was pretty crazy.
Did you have like a major malfunction where you're like, oh, holy crap, XYZ happened? You're trying to reverse engineer your problem?
Well, one of the, you know, one of the 16-inch mirror floor toms got the head didn't seat properly, and I'm not blaming anybody. I'm just saying it just didn't seat right.
Yeah.
And by the way it got to the next show, it buckled the mirror and it all fell off the 16-inch on the inside. Thank God. So I had to like redo another one and like drive it to Memphis, I think. This is early on, you know. So of that and getting the phone call 3 days before the show to do the front KISS heads. The LED KISS heads weren't working in Vancouver when they got the whole stage set up. You know, they weren't gelling with the whole jive of the way that the show was going. It was distracting actually. So they wanted old school silver sparkle clear, you know, heads, and I've never done one before. I never done a front bass drum head in my life. So it was like I got a call, and it was Eric and Lorne. They were like, "Yeah, we need 4 bass drum heads done." It was Friday night, and we need them here by Monday. And so Saturday I figured out how to do it. Sunday I did 4 of them and overnighted them that afternoon and had them to Vancouver the day before the show.
Jeez.
So that was hairy.
I remember I don't know if Xander's heard this story or not, but I just recently rewatched the KISS A&E documentary. I bought it on DVD and wrapping gifts and stuff. I'm like, this will be a good thing to have on the background. And
part 1 and 2?
Yeah, part 1 and part 2. So that the first one where they're in rehearsing a conversation that you and I had. So I'm looking at the washers, the foam washers, the green washers around the heads, and I go, those are still wet. I know that from...
They were still damp because they're like, you know, it's felt or wool or what, you know, it's like, you know, I had to dye them green to get the right color. There's some foam ones out there, but they just weren't the right color. I came up with this great idea of dyeing them, but it was like a month later, they were still damp. And I just sent him to Gump, like thinking he wouldn't notice. And he's like, Billy, these are still damp. So, they probably are still damp to this day.
Just all that extra moisture, Eric.
That was so cool on the A&E thing because, you know, that was the first time he set the kit up, you know, and had it in rehearsal. So that was the first time, you know, I got to see it when they were setting it up at the warehouse for the first time. Mm-hmm. And, you know, they were FaceTiming me while it was all pieces were going together. And, you know, it was... we originally were going to do 3 toms across the front.
Really?
Yeah. There was
that would have been cool.
So we were trying to do that, and we just couldn't get it worked out. And so they're like FaceTime me. They're like, "You're gonna have to cut down the 9x13. You have to cut it down an inch." And I'm like, "It's got a mirror on it. There's no." I'm like, and I was kind of flipping out because I didn't like the way it looked. And then like I had one of those moments where like I had no control over what was coming out of my mouth. And I was just like, that looks like shit, you know? I mean, that just looks terrible. And you just need to go back to the 2 in the middle. And so like 40 minutes later, I get a picture back and it's like the 2 in the middle. I'm like, thank God. Now I can sleep. Because it would have been one of those things that I would have just like obsessed over, and it would have like...
You know, I don't know from his whole career if he's ever played with 3 toms running up front from his Black Sabbath days, which I saw a picture of his China cymbals. Instead of being, you know, he's everything flat all the way around. His China cymbals were flat inverted the opposite direction where the bells were facing at him. I'm like, what a bizarre setup. Like normally you have those like Tico Torres and other people would have them over here, but he had them up in front. It looked really weird. But I remember
kind of Terry Fazio kind of.
Yes, very. But that's one thing to change. Like even now and then I'll change my setup a little bit, and it feels, I always say it's like wearing somebody else's underwear. I can do it. It's just uncomfortable but for playing that long, that's kind of surprising. But if he was trying to replicate that feel of the 70s kid, I could understand why.
I'm not sure why. I think it was just trying something different, and seeing if we could do it. It just didn't work out. And I don't think he would have been comfortable. I mean, the whole thing is making sure that he is completely comfortable getting up there and playing the same setup, feel, everything. I mean, the triggers, everybody sees triggers and thinks those are going front of house. They're not. Is so he can have the exact monitor mix every single night, regardless if he's in-house or playing outdoor venue, which they had to do, after COVID. A lot of them were outdoor venues. Mm-hmm. So having the same exact, just trigger it, have everything go into your monitor mix. I mean, you're golden every night, so.
Wow. This is really cool. Yeah. We're getting all kinds of info today, Rob.
That's right. We're kicking New Year's off with a bang here.
Xander, no doubt.
Xander, if I'm stepping on you at all, please chime in, because I'm like a kid in a candy store. Ooh, what about that? And ooh, what about that?
No, I was going to say, I don't.
I have to ask, Billy, you have spent so much time. I love my Pearl drums. I feel weird sitting behind. I loved Eric Carr, and I wanted to play, Ludwig drums, seeing White Lions drummer is escaping me at the moment. I can't think of it.
Greg
D'Angelo, I think. Yeah. But, once Eric Singer had come into the band, and then, Warrant's drummer, and then Robert Sweet from Striper, they were all playing Pearl, so I kind of graduated with Pearl. So my long answer is, I know you play Ludwig. Having spent so much time with all of this Pearl gear for 5 years, where does your heart set? If you could pick any kit to play on, are you still a Ludwig guy, or have you looked at Pearl in a different way where you're like, I wonder?
There's certain things that aesthetically that I love about Ludwig, that I don't love about, other drum companies. Mm-hmm. I love the blue olive badges to say Ludwig, I love their lugs, the way their design work. I love the mock lugs, the ones that are just all one piece. Mm-hmm. To me, that looks cool. But I will say that the fiberglass Pearl drum shells are the best sounding drum shells I've ever heard. That to me, they have the perfect amount of, it's almost like a combination of like a mix of like an acrylic and a like mahogany drum. Like you get the attack of like, acrylic, but you get this beautiful low, warm tone, almost like a, mahogany drum. So you get that bright attack, but you get that warmth, so you're not losing anything that you have to kind of, compromise when you're using wood drums. Birch, you're going to get that volume and stuff like that, but you're going to lose a little of that mellowness, that you would with, say mahogany or whatever. So to me, it's just it's a beautiful, sounding shell. And I don't know, I would love to somebody to start doing, there's some guys out there that do fiberglass shells. I don't know. I like the way I mean, don't get me wrong, the Ludwig Classics maples are, I love the way they sound. They just got a sound that I really enjoy. I mean, and I make my own, I build drums, so I can make my own drums.
Oh yeah. Why am I playing anybody else other than mine, Rob?
Yeah.
But, and maybe one day I will, but, it's just one of those things where I grew up with Ludwig and, had a lot of favorite drummers play those. And there's a lot of sentimental and a lot of
Ringo.
stuff that just takes me back, when I play those drums, when I see them. So that's kind of, but the fiberglass Pearl shells were an eye opener to me. I actually had a 26-inch fiberglass shell that I did a gold satin moire kind of kit. It was 13, 16, 18, 26, and 6.5 by 14 snare, all in fiberglass. And I'm not kidding. That was the best bass drum I've ever heard, ever. It was just ridiculous. I don't know why, but there's something about that fiberglass. It's just amazing.
This is a nerdy thing that just popped into my head. As you're making the kits, are they giving you the heads? Are you heading the drums for Eric? Or are these just the whatever heads you had? You put the heads on. He's
been endorsed by Attack Drum Heads.
Yeah,
for forever. I mean, Mark from Attack sends me all the drum heads.
Okay.
He's always got his signature drum heads, so I make sure that those are on top and bottom of all the stage played and all the snares that I do. He uses that combo live, and it definitely has it's got a killer sound.
Yeah,
it's that medium bottom head, you could crank it, but his top head's great too. I've never put that combination on any of those snare drums and been like, wow, I wish I could put a different head on there. It just always worked.
Yeah. I didn't know how much, if like you just put on generic Pearl heads that were on there, then they did all of that at the arenas or whatever. I didn't know how much of that was functional.
I try and get them on there ready to go. So like, Gump just has to tweak them up a bit,
Gotcha.
I take the Pearl heads off. I've got like a huge stack of them if you want some.
I love Pearl, but no thank you. The Pearl heads were great on my first kit because I didn't know any better. And then I started getting other heads and I was like, wow, my drums just went from $100 pawn shop drum set to sounded like I could play Madison Square Garden tomorrow.
That's always the weirdest thing to me, like why they would like build these beautiful drums and then just put heads that weren't like, out of the box. You're just ready to go, and it's going to sound great because what it sounds like when you pull a snare drum out for the first time out of the box, and it's not even tightened up or anything, and you just like hit it for the first time. We know better now, but with that first time you do it, and you're like, oh, this is awesome. What is going on here?
Yeah.
Oh, I have to, but I understand, everybody's tuning preferences are different, and hell, that might be the new cool sound. Everybody likes the out of the box.
Sure. I hear words you're saying, but I'm not agreeing with any of those words that you're saying.
Hey, stranger things have happened, man.
You're absolutely right. All it's going to take is that one artist or that one person to revolutionize, something. What's next on the horizon for you? Have you had other artists go, okay, now that your Kiss days are done, like, do you just have people waiting in line, or are you kind of like, okay, I'm ready to chill? This has been a 5-year.
Yeah, I was definitely ready to chill. To the point of almost just being completely burnt out. I mean, I have to really be into something. I give 110% no matter what it is, but I have to really be into it and I, when I'm there, I'm in there, I'm in the zone, but I needed a break, man. And Kiss was the top of the mountain. So it's like you get to the top of the mountain, and I'm just not one of those type of people that gets to the top of the mountain and wants to just wave this flag, I'm on top of the mountain. I just see it. I see a bunch of other mountains I want to climb, Yeah. And so I just want to go I want to get back into my music. I got my band Valentine Saloon back together. It was a band that I had back in the early 90s. And actually, our bass player, Dean, is the one that sculpted the giant Kiss Panthers.
Oh, cool.
He does incredible stage work. Dean Tomasek, he's an incredible artist. He does like he did the past two Alice Cooper stages, like all this.
Wow.
Castle work and all that stuff. He does incredible stage work. A lot of it's styrofoam, but carved and stuff like that. But the whole underwater scene that was used on that last Jimmy Buffett tour, that was all Dean. He did all that stuff. So I knew the right person when we and Eric started talking about, wouldn't it be cool to bring the Kiss Cats back? And I was like, I know the guy. I think when he was about halfway into it, I think probably Dean wanted to kill me for getting into it, because I mean, I think at first we thought the Kiss Cats were just going to be like the old kind of Egyptian looking ones, from Destroyer.
Yeah.
But they wanted juiced up, muscular. I mean, I get it. I mean, they're showstoppers,
This last tour, seeing them, we were there at Rosemont. It's other, shows that we were watching. And like, oh, the cats aren't back up there. And then they come up out of the floor, and that was a moment. And then when Eric levitates, they start levitating as well. I remember looking at some of the guys going, holy shit.
That's so much, I think that has such a bigger impact. That was well done. Rather than just having them up there the whole time, have them, come up halfway through the show and then stay the remainder of the show. I thought that was brilliant to kind of do that. I mean, at one point I had even heard talks that the candelabra was going to come back. I think most of the stuff came to fruition that I had heard. The only thing was probably the candelabra that didn't make its way back.
That would have been neat.
About not, I guess. So what would I say? 160 stage played, and probably about 8 or 9 full kits that we did for this. Probably about 20 snares for him to use. Pick through and use for whatever. And I mean, what can I say? It's like it was the greatest 5 years of my life.
I mean, it's awesome. It's one thing being just a normal concert goer and, hey, that guitar looks cool, but to be a drummer and then to have personally talked to you and know the hard work, and because you were probably taking time out of family events and other different things where you're like, I got to finish this kit. I got to get X, Y, or Z.
Everybody was understanding. Everybody knew what was going on. Oh yeah.
But just from a fan aspect of it, thank you for all your work. For the 5 shows that I saw on this tour, it was always the highlight to see, like, okay, it's great for the show, but I want to hear the drum solo. I want to hear those beautiful drums just sing. And that was always that final show. I got that little choked up moment, like, oh, this is the last solo. I'm seeing Eric playing Kiss. But it was just really cool just to hear those drums just sing one last time. So it was very cool.
I'm a fan too. So to be able to like do those kits and see how much joy it brought everybody. It's like kind of when I do my Facebook posts, I post something like behind the scenes, like, so nobody's ever seen like the drum stools, that we did, the really cool stuff that you really can't see, and I'm going to do more of that. I just don't want to, you got to space it out. I feel, because you don't want to, if you're constantly bombarding, it doesn't make it special, so I try and maybe once a month, maybe once every 2 months, just post a little cool thing that people hadn't seen before. Because to me, that would be interesting to me. So I always try and think about what would be interesting to other people, and kind of special. So those are the things that I think of anyways. Yeah.
I've got one final question for you, and I'll let Xander go because I feel like I've just been kind of running amok here. Is there anything that you want to say before we get out of here, Xander, at all?
Well, I have just a comment, which is, again, a big thank you, because I am a huge Eric Singer fan, and I am a drummer, but I've never been that well-versed in any of the hardware and the material and anything like that. So hearing you talk about that, getting a behind-the-scenes look has been super awesome. And, of course, thank you, Rob, for involving me in this, because it's just been nice to sit here and just be a fly on the wall listening to Billy talk about all this stuff. I mean, it's absolutely incredible. Eric is my absolute favorite drummer, and Rob, similar to you, going on these last handful of shows, seeing these kits, hearing him play them has been amazing. It's a memory that I'll never forget. And so, Billy, thank you so much for contributing to History.
You're so welcome. There's so many people involved. I wish I could. It would just take too long to tell everybody. But John Aldridge was also hugely involved with like the build. He designed the racks. He did all the engraved stage plate snares. So if you saw engraved ones,
I didn't know if that was you also.
No, I don't do any of that.
Okay.
That's a
whole nother monster.
I mean, you got to be freaking. You got to do what you're passionate about, and find that, And John found that he was passionate about and really skilled at engraving, and it's I think that last one he did with the faces on there was
that
Gino got that one.
Yeah. He
Yeah.
got a lot of stuff that last show. He was posting little videos. He had
Yeah.
Gene's last bass, all of Paul's, like the whole rainbow collection of his guitars, and
he's a great guy.
Super nice guy. Yeah.
Super great guy. I love this stuff, man. I just, I kind of feel like at this moment, I'm like, wow, this is probably it. I don't really have too much to talk about as far as like, as far as like, I mean, what's going to be going on with me? I don't know. It's like, I want to make a record. I want to make a record with my buds that, while we still can. And I want it to be about now. And I we've been writing all these songs and it's all about how we feel now. It's like, it kind of like, I don't like living in the past. I like living in the present. So, it's kind of like, I'm not even thinking about anything we've done in the past. And I don't know, the drum stuff, it's got to come back to me. It's definitely going to be more a thing to where I'm back doing stuff, that ideas that I have in my mind, projects that I already have thought out, rather than I don't find much enjoyment people like asking me to do stuff that they, that their idea and what they want me to do. I've got enough ideas, and that's kind of like what makes it kind of special. What I do is because it's my, what I come up with. And so I like the whole process, coming up with the ideas, executing it, and then, seeing it, put together. And then the best part is seeing people like you guys who really get it and know that, hey, these last kits, a lot of thought went into this, and there was a lot of tip of the hats to the Peter and the old school stuff. And so I don't know, I can't help but feel like that maybe it was meant to be, like it was supposed to happen, like I was supposed to be the guy to do these last kits. I was a Kiss Alive too. I was on the first night. I was on the 11th row. And
wow.
To come full circle. And then actually, the first time I saw the kid up there, in Vancouver that night, I was watching it. We were all watching YouTube or anything we could get pieces of. But I couldn't believe it. I still can't believe it. I don't know. I don't know when that day's going to come to where it actually hits me.
So
I did that. Yeah.
But I don't get that. It doesn't bother me. I'm very appreciative. It's like that this could happen. And late in life for me, I just turned 58. So the whole thing happened when I was 53, getting ready to turn 54. So you seem to appreciate things that happen like this later in life,
Yeah.
And you also kind of like, to me, it was kind of like, wow, man, this is the coolest thing about this is it's given me, peace from myself. I don't have anything to prove to myself anymore. I've got that peace where I can just like enjoy the rest of my life and just feel like, you know what, that was the coolest thing that ever happened. And I'm good. I'm good with that.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
that is really cool.
All I heard is a Right Between the Eyes record exclusive interview when your band drops a new album. I would love to have you on when you guys are finished and
I've been having so much fun, but like anything else, it's totally consumed me. It's like, I just get into something, man, and I get obsessed. And so for the past 7 months of just writing with Dean again and William, and we're guitar player away from making this happen, but Jeremy's worked with us before. He does the Ace thing, and so, but he's also super busy with Ace. So, it'll all happen. But the songs are I'm in love with the songs. I'm in love with the guys, and I'm in love with making music again. So I think probably most of 2024, will I do some drum stuff? Maybe here and there, but I really want to play some music while I still can. So.
Yeah,
Right on, dude. Sweet.
Dude, it's been a pleasure. This is where we're going to end this. It is New Year's Eve, folks. I can't think of a better way to end 2023 rolling into 2024. So on behalf of Billy Baker, Xander from Kiss Army Things, I'm Rob. You've been watching and listening to Right Between the Eyes podcast with 3 generations of Kiss fans telling you why we love it loud. We'll see you in the next episode. Take care. Bye.